What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and as you can see by the title, this is an update on the Mitch Marner contract situation. Now, we've heard a lot of stories that have come out today. Also, shout out to the Toronto Raptors going to the NBA Finals. If you're not a Raptors fan, well, hopefully you're cheering for them, but again, that's off topic. But we heard some info today from Darren Dreger and TSN about the Mitch Marner negotiations. Now, before I start this video, I'd just like to start off by saying this stuff may not be true. It may not be 100%. The information might have been twisted a little bit. Maybe he was given false information. This stuff isn't, you shouldn't take this as 100% to the heart. This is what's going to happen. This is just the first update that we've gotten in a while. And whether or not all of this is true, I don't know. Again, I don't have sources. But this is the update that we've been given. And there's a couple bombshells in here. And I'd also like to state that I am a Leafs fan and I'm a fan of Mitch Marner. But the money, if this is the money that he's looking for, guys, it's not going to go well. And don't worry, I'm going to go through the pros and cons. I'm going to look at every area here so that way everything is touched. It's not going to be me being biased like, oh, okay, well, you know, this needs to happen, and he should go. This is going to be an optimistic approach where I give both sides. So before we, start into the main pieces here, Mitch Marner is a fantastic hockey player. We do know he led the Leafs. In the regular season, he was just fantastic. He wasn't a leader as in a leader, like I'm sure he is in the room, but like he led the team when it came to the points and everything like that. And he's a great hockey player. You can't knock the guy, but the money that he's looking for would make him the highest paid winger in NHL history. Let that sink in. Highest paid winger in NHL history. And if you don't believe paying for a premium position is a real thing, it is. And you pay a little bit more for centers. So this would instantly make him probably around the same as Matthews' money, which is too much. But let's go into what's being said. So basically what Dreger said on TSN was that he expects the negotiations to go past July 1st and that the Marner camp might consider on June 26th starting to meet with teams in regards to an offer sheet. Now, I think that this is ridiculous, first of all. And Dreger also said that the Leafs will have to make an aggressive offer of $10 million plus 10.5, 11 million. That's too much. 10 million or under, the 9.8 to $10 million range should be where he's at. If you don't agree with me, I'm sorry, that's where he needs to be. It's too expensive past that. And I'm going to get into some numbers here, and I've got some tweets for you. But I wanted to bring up a funny tweet first, because this actually makes a lot of sense to me, and I think it's so true. This came from Ryan Fancy. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. We've all seen him around Leafs Twitter. But he said, outright reporting Marner is expected to visit with other teams in negotiation period seems like a bit of a bombshell to me. If Nylander or Matthews would have done this, they would have been destroyed by Toronto media for doing the same. Now, I think that that's so true. If Nylander went and started talking to teams about an offer sheet, you guys would have crucified him. Same thing with Matthews. It seems to me that if this is true, the Marner camp is really pushing for him to get every dollar that he can. And I also think that it's hilarious because Mitch Marner's not going to get big endorsements anywhere else. Like, this is the biggest endorsements that he can get. He's got like 12 different commercials right now, and Toronto is one of the centers of the NHL, and Toronto is also a center for money. So he's going to get a ton of money from endorsements. He already is. He lived for free in downtown Toronto last year, if you guys didn't know. He lived for free. According to Chris Johnston, he was living with no dollars paid. Like, that's not going to be like everywhere. Like, I'm sorry, you go to Arizona, you're not getting those endorsements, especially for hockey, and you're not getting these free housing and all this stuff like that. I just thought that tweet was hilarious, and it also makes sense. And this is another tweet that I wanted to bring up from Scott Wheeler. He said, if Mitch Marner thinks he's worth $11 million and is willing to visit with offer sheet options, the Leafs should absolutely play chicken with him and let him go and talk to these teams. If he wants to play in a market that can afford that money, he's likely going to a team that isn't close to the cup. Now, I want to elaborate on this because I've seen some people say, oh, well, this team has $30 million in cap space. Great. You sign Mitch Marner to that monster deal. Let's say they sign him to $11 million offer sheet. He accepts. He goes. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. I can't help it. But let's say he goes. He signs that deal. And Okay, great. So you've got Mitch Marner for 11 million bucks. Now you've got to fill a team around him. So, like, people are like, oh, well, look at the Oilers. You know, they've got McDavid, they've got Draisaitl locked up. Okay, what else? They don't have a good starting goaltender, which they've poured too much money into. They don't have a great defense core. They've poured a lot of money into some defensemen that can't stay healthy. They also don't have secondary scoring beyond Nugent Hopkins. I know they can bring up some other guys, but this is the reason why teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Capitals, teams like that have succeeded. They have guys that have high cap hits, but they also have a ton of prospects and a ton of young guys that will come in and fill those spots. That's the position the Toronto Maple Leafs are in. And I don't want to hear it that Nylander's the reason why this is happening. His cap hit is under $7 million next season. And he is going to have 75, 80 points around that range. Guys, that contract means nothing to these conversations. The contracts that matter in this situation is the Zaitsev deal and the Marleau deal. They're too expensive. Connor Brown needs to go as well. That's where the money gets shed. And if Kadri and the Leafs don't work something out, I love him, but he would be the one to go. You're not getting rid of young assets that are locked up to long-term contracts. It makes zero sense. Stop with the nonsense. You don't make any sense when you say that to trade Nylander, or I've seen people say trade Matthews, like it's ridiculous. But it makes sense, that tweet saying that he will likely not be in a situation to win. And that's just not a Leaf bias. You can say whatever you want, but he won't be in a better position to win. It doesn't really make any sense to me. So this is the next thing I wanted to bring up. And this is from my buddy Downtown Stephen Brown. Don't worry, the Leafs Forever podcast will be coming back very soon. This is what he tweeted out. He said, on Mitch Marner, the minimum dollar for max RFA compensation for first is for 10.56859. Any team that offer sheets him for that or higher is insane to give up 4 firsts, which means to me the most money he'll get is 10.568589, and the comp for that is 2 firsts, a second, a third, and what I don't know. Oh, he's saying another tweet from the Leaf side. That's almost guaranteed to be an awful return for Marner. So his min and the Leafs max has to be 10.568589. Then it comes down to years. Needs to be 6+ in order to consider that cap hit. Ideally, Mitch Marner at 9.75 for 6 years is okay. So 10.568 is a slight overpayment. Now, I think anything over 10 is an overpayment. But I'd also like to bring up that Dreger said the Leafs camp doesn't believe, or that he believes the Marner camp doesn't want to go beyond 5 years. So I don't know what kind of money that's going to have, but Marner is definitely, and their camp are definitely looking for big bucks. Now, I seen a lot of people really hating Nylander when he was in this position, and it looks like the Marner camp's willing to go beyond what Nylander's camp was doing. So I'd also like to bring up the fact that this isn't just for me to be like, oh, Marner's not worth this, Marner's not worth that. He's earned the right, and Dreger even said it, he's earned the right to go get his money. It's the same thing with Nylander. He earned the right to go get his money. And I just don't believe that him going somewhere else, he'll make the same amount in endorsements. He won't make all the bonuses that Toronto can offer because, by the way, teams just don't have unlimited money. The Leafs are one of the richest teams in sports. So, well, when it comes to hockey, of course, we know some soccer teams like Manchester United and the Yankees and stuff like that are huge when it comes to that. But in the hockey world, the Leafs and Rangers are like 1-2. So unless he goes there, he's not getting paid those big bonuses and all these endorsements. The Leafs have the biggest opportunity to give him that extra money and those extra bells and whistles that a lot of teams can't. And that's why you see a lot of teams don't offer bonuses or big ones in the contracts, whereas the Leafs can give up all this money in bonuses and everything to keep a player around. So these are just my thoughts on this. I just don't think Marner is going to be making over $10 million in Toronto. If it is, it'll be just over that. They can't afford to give him $11+ million. And if he wants to do that, if he wants to sign some big contract, and if Dreger thinks that it's going to take that and that the Leafs are going to be aggressive in giving him that money, the Leafs might have to consider letting him sign that offer sheet. And another thing I want to bring up to people is like that if he signs that offer sheet, guys, he's going to be one of the most hated Leafs of all time. Not by me, because whatever. If you leave, like, that sucks. I'll always have that little bit of anger, like, dude, why did you leave? But at the same time, I know he's going to get his money. But if he does sign that offer sheet, just know that he is saying he wants to leave. That's all I've got to say. And if that's what it is, that means they're really in it for big bucks. I just don't think that he's worth that much money. And people are going to say, well, look at Nylander, he had 10 million this. It was an upfront $10 million cap hit because they worked the cap in a way that they could make his cap hit lower later on, which is now under $7 million or just over. But it's literally so cheap when it comes to the fact that he's going to be so good in the coming years and the cap's going to go up and people are going to be getting more money anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of all over the place. I rambled a little bit, but this is just the first update in regards to Mitch Marner. Hopefully the deal gets done with the Leafs and that they talk some sense into their camp, because that's way too much money. If teams want to give him that much money, sure, go ahead. That's way too much. That's all I'm saying. It would make him the highest paid player on the wing in the NHL history. That's absolutely insane. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. Let's go Raptors. Click the notification bell. Share, like, subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. I gotta love Mitch Marner. I still do. I've got his jersey. I met him. He's a nice dude. But Mitch, if you're watching this, man, just sign with the Leafs. And make sure it's under 10. Peace.